There's a lot in the mural that is nowhere in the mock-up that you provided.
What?
Maybe the mock-up is maybe 25% of that mural, if not less. The viaduct is completely different. You put more of your influence of, is it Russian brutalism? Is that?
Yeah.
Into the columns and stuff like that. It's kind of awesome. Can't say I knew what you were gonna do, but the end result was something that is exactly what I was looking for. And I think maybe it's also because of your time spent in that space. Between putting the mock-up together and actually being in the space doing the work, how much influence did the space around you determine what ended up in the mural?
A huge amount. Like when I paint, I have earbuds in. I'm listening to whatever it is I'm listening to, which was instant gratification for your guys's, except for the final work. I went to covers, Super Nintendo video games.
Is that because of me playing Donkey Kong Country and stuff?
Yeah, that is exactly why. It became like this sort of like rhythm. The environment was huge, and the 5 of you guys who own the shop, even bigger. I spent individual time with all of you before and after working on the mural, and like each time I'd get a clearer picture of where I was going, how that would be, feeling the interactions between you guys, the meals we ate. That was all put in there in some way or another. The combination between the music and the people I was directly interacting with, 100%. It was all filtered through it.
You'd be in the shop for like 4 or 5 days and would sleep in an office chair next to the wall. What was that experience like for you?
Being the Dirt Rooster artist in residence was like a do-over when I did an artist residency in Brooklyn, but I feel like this one was successful. There like definitely are days where like there was more stress, and that would end up in a more violent application.
You hear us arguing in the shop, and so you're just like...
I mean, sure, there's definitely some of that. Some of it was then like decompressing with you guys after work. Like you were always there, but then you'd go home and different people would always stay. That was really interesting from my perspective to see how I then tied back relationship, that new understanding of that person and how they fit into that space already, and then how I perceived that and then how I expressed that. I took this last month off. Prior to that, I have been in the process of constructing a paint booth to paint bike frames. I mean, I'm sure I'll spray other things in it, and it's something I've been trying to have at my beck and call for several years, but bike frames were definitely the excuse I needed to go out and make it a reality. So I now have a wood shop next to paint booth, and hopefully I'll be able to do it in a way that I won't kill myself.
Yeah.
Respiration and some type of ventilation, which I have yet to install.
Well, if you need help.
Hey, I need help. I was gonna start when I got the plastic up and wear my full like NOSHA approved respirator for like adverse conditions.
Couldn't you just get like a scuba helmet or something? You know, the old school scuba helmet, and just have a hose going down?
Yes. I don't have the technical skill to weld something like that, but I do have the tools to know you more and the audience of the space more and how I fit into that. When you guys gave me the green light to just do it as an artist, it became a totally different experience for me, at least, versus I'm going to paint this mock-up. People that are attempting to employ me ask me to paint someone else's stuff. And you're just like, if you like what they sent you, you should have them paint it, and then they do. And it's like, I'm glad that wasn't me. I mean, I could have used that money, but that's not me. But then there's also like the line in between, which is where I was headed originally. But then when you guys gave me the green light to just like
do your thing,
it became something so much more. And as it shifted, It was just nice to see us all come together in that space, and like understanding like you guys are the constant audience that will be in many cases doing your own art in that space. I started just shifting perspectives through the whole thing, like adding the two suns.
Yeah, the two suns is a great thing.
For me, in a lot of ways, the experience was so good, and it felt so different from my COVID isolation, poor mental break with my other art job. I wanted it to mirror that, reflect that, and further it in the same way. There's two suns. It's subtle in some ways. You wouldn't really notice it unless either you're listening to this, having been told it. Also, for it to just transcend into something that I felt more was almost fantasy. I am giving you part of my reality, even if it isn't an objective shared reality, but I'm making it an objective shared reality in this way. Bringing that into this space for me was something that I took for granted and I assumed was going to be the case. And then bringing you guys in within me, and then me expressing that in some weird transmogrified sort of landscape was both figural and landscape-ish. There's not a good way to phrase it that doesn't sound completely vague and very specific in its vagueness.
You've given us this incredible gift, taking all these landmarks from this park that is sort of the entire thing that our shop revolves around is that park. And, taking these iconic images, putting it through your filter and having you express it with your experience, that those 2 months or 2.5 months in that space with us is something that is so the essence of who we are and why we're here. It's really incredible just to work in that space and to have that just amazing art piece that is in itself a sort of remembrance of the time that we all had together in that space, and also is expressing and really putting on display the park and how much we love it. And also every little touch, every little influence that's come from your experience and your progression as an artist. I've had people come in that just moved here from Seattle, the people that just moved from Philly. Both couples that came in were so glad to have found us. Looking around the store, feeling a sense of belonging and a sense of community. Even if there's no one else in the store, I think that really says something to the environment that we've all collectively made there at Dirt Rooster. And based on the reactions and the compliments from people coming in who haven't been there before, general consensus is that it's a good piece.